Namaste, everyone. I know it's been a while. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa Jang, Yin Yoga teacher trainer, and lover of all things Yin Yoga and Fascia. Today we have a simple Yin practice. And for today's practice, you'll need 2 yoga blocks as well as a pillow or a bolster. Get a harder cushion if you can, maybe off your sofa if you don't have a bolster. And then the blocks, not a cork block, but if you can get a foam block, a couple of even-sized foam blocks, that will be very good as well. We're going to use the blocks for a little bit of myofascial release too. Blanket's always nice as well. So I have a blanket kind of unfolded on my mat so that as I lay down into my back, it feels nice and cushiony, padded. So let's begin. We're going to start off with the bolster or your pillow at the bottom end of your mat where your legs are going to be situated. And grabbing your 2 blocks. We're creating a T shape with the blocks. This block is going to be vertically right behind the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. And then this block is going to go right behind the head. It can go high level or it can go medium level, creating that T shape that I mentioned. Now, a disclaimer, every body is different. So know that the depth or the height of the block for me will be different for you. It might be different. So give it a try. You can go baby bear level, mama bear level, or papa bear level. So we're going to start off with our opening meditation with a heart opener, our fish pose. Go ahead and slowly start to lay down onto the blocks. I'm going to take the bolster underneath my legs. I'm going to scooch back here and try to get the bottom tips of my shoulder blades onto the block. Oh, that already feels good. I can feel my T-spine, really enjoying that, my thoracic. And then my block is going to be on Papa Bear level, its highest height. Feel free to change the height of the blocks. You might need a deeper back bend here where your block is in Mama Bear level. And then let your arms just rest down alongside your body. Gently close your eyes. I'm just going to change the height of my block because for me, my body, it feels better to have it more of at Papa Bear level. Let the back of your hands rest down towards the ground. And take a slow, deep in-breath in your nose. And a slow, deep out-breath in your mouth. Preparing yourself for your practice today. Breathing in and gently breathing out. As you start to find an easy rhythm and cadence of breath, begin to set your intentions for today's practice. So, as we wrap up the year, we're in, if you're watching this, we're in the month of December and it's 2025. We're almost heading to 2026. And as we lay here, maybe reflecting on our journey through 2025 and all the challenges and the struggles and the doubts. Within those struggles, those challenges, those doubts, it allowed us to gain more wisdom and insight for a lot of us and to become a lot more stronger and resilient. And for some of us, maybe we were working on more visible changes, right? Maybe you wanted to work on shifting in your job, your career, right? Or physically in your body. And sometimes we think that visible grand gestures or changes are ones that are that should be applauded and appreciated. And while those things are wonderful, sometimes we also have to recognize that the subtle little changes are the ones that are even more valuable. So maybe we haven't gotten that new job, or maybe physically we haven't gained that what we're looking for, but we're working on it, right? And so all the little things that we're working on, they're not visible. And so as you're here, right, appreciating the things, the subtleties, like the yin practice, that are not visible. Setting your intention here to go inwards and know that the inward work, the journey, and coming back to your journey, your practice, accumulates to something. And if you have another intention, set that right here, right now. Deep in breath, slow deep out breath. Let's go ahead and gently stretch our arms and legs long as you're here. A huge body stretch. Roll through the wrists. Turn your head from side to side. And as you're ready, bring your arms back down by your sides. Go slow. And then bend your knees so that your feet are going to be on top of your bolster. And then go slow as you roll towards the side. So you're going to come off your blocks. Take your time to come off your blocks. Be very mindful as you come off your blocks. And then slowly start to come up. All we're going to do is change the orientation of our blocks. So this time I'm taking my block horizontally across the shoulder blades as I'm here. So along the width of the bottom tips of my shoulder blade, and then the block for behind my head. So I can stay with that heart opener, but now I am, instead of putting pressure right between the shoulder blades, I'm having it straight across at the bottom tips as I'm here. And also that width of the block will create a little bit more support as we head into the next pose. Go ahead and take your feet onto the bolster. Feel free to push the bolster away. So you're going to use your feet to push that away. You might need that, so be prepared. Draw your feet about mat width. And then from here, you might need to lift your hips slightly, move your hips towards the right side, and feel free just to kind of move your upper body on the blocks as we come to our windshield wiper or open twists. Now, if your right knee is floating up, go ahead and use your foot. There's a little bit of finessing here. So I'm going to use my foot to grab my bolster, and I'm going to take my right knee on the bolster as I'm here. So I get internal rotation of that right thigh. Let me start my timer here. And I get a subtle opening through that hip flexor. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more, this is where you're going to roll towards the side away from the leg. So your left side come up. Reach for your right foot and draw that heel closer towards your glute as you're here. Slowly lay back down onto your blocks, okay? And then as you're here, you'll notice a deeper opening through the thigh. Now in this variation, I won't need the bolster just because I have that range of motion. I'm gonna come back down and gently kind of find my way into ease as I'm here. This left thigh can come up a little bit more if you like, or you can have it straight if you like. Again, the emphasis is the work of the yin tissues in towards that right thigh, that right hip flexor. We've been in this pose for about a minute, and for today's practice, we'll be doing about 2 minutes or so on each side. So feel free during the practice today to pause the video and stay longer in the pose. Maybe you want to stay for 3 minutes instead of 2, 3, 4 minutes. If you have the luxury of time, I actually would recommend that. But for video purposes and for time purposes, I'm keeping it at a 2-minute mark. Now take a slow, deep in breath and a slow, deep out breath. Soften through the upper body. Notice if there's any unintentional guarding. A lot of times the shoulders will shrug up towards the ears. There'll be engagement of the accessory muscles, the jaw, the eyes. And if you notice that, don't be too hard on yourself because this does happen. Just gently soften as you breathe out, soften and let go of that rigidity that you may be clinging on to. Now you've got one more slow, deep in breath. And as you breathe out, taking your time. So if you have your foot close towards your butt, you're going to roll away from that right leg. And then slowly start to take that right leg out of that internal rotation. Now, as you're here, a little pause, straighten out that right leg or bend that knee if you like. I'm just going to come off the bolster so my leg's not in hyperextension. I'm just going to feel the tissues. We call this the rebound of the pose. You can feel the sweet hum of the energy moving through that right thigh. I also can feel the front of my right shin and the front of the ankle, which feels great. As you're ready, bend both legs and then take your time. Same thing on the second side. So shift your hips towards the left and then drop both knees towards your right. Again, have that support underneath your knees, but draw that left knee back so it's right beneath your left hip. I'm going to roll towards the side again and then take a hold of my left ankle. Let me start the timer again. Again, 2 minutes here. And taking my time to come down. You may be up here and know that that's fine. So you might find yourself kind of hanging out here. You can close your eyes like I'm doing here and just kind of hang out. This might be your Goldilocks. You're just right. Otherwise, taking your time to come down. What I do appreciate here is my blanket, which is on the bottom of my foot. If you have a hardwood floor, you'll notice that the hardwood floor and your foot may not feel good together or pressing into the floor, and your nervous system will start to shift into fight or flight. If that's the case, grab a blanket, put it underneath your foot, or grab a nice thick sock and just place it on, and you'll find that that should be enough cushioning for your foot. But as you're here, soften through the lower abdomen and then breathe in towards that left hip flexor, the left top of your thigh. Again, feel free to straighten out that right leg or keep it bent. Again, breathe in towards the anterior compartment of the left thigh. And as you breathe out, let go of any unconscious efforting and guarding. And taking about 3 to 4 more cycles of breath. As you're ready, gently start to open your eyes. Feel free to press pause. Go slow as you release the pose. Again, I'm going to roll away from that leg. Unfurl that left leg. Go slow. And then remove the blocks. Lay down onto your back for a moment. Okay. Pausing there, you can scooch the bolster back underneath your legs, but just notice how the legs feel. Breathe into this new shift, this new awareness. Taking another slow, deep in breath. And a slow, deep out breath. And then as you're ready, go ahead and bend both knees. We're going to grab our yoga strap. I don't think I mentioned that. So you might need to press pause in the video and grab your yoga strap. So grab your yoga strap. I'm going to shift my bolster so it's going to be vertical underneath that left leg. If you don't have a strap, you can always use a bathrobe belt, or you can also use a man's tie. Take that strap underneath you, and it's going to be right underneath your underarms as you're here. The tail and the strap should be proximal to your hands. Lay on down on your mat, and then take your foot, your right foot, into the bolster. Into the strap, and then let your head come down. If you need the block behind your head, by all means, take that block behind your head. And right now we're targeting the back of the leg into the hamstring. What I love about the pillow underneath me, it does add a different support, which I appreciate. If this is something that doesn't resonate with you, feel free to move the pillow away. Now, for me, I like to have a little bit more support underneath my hamstring. So I'm going to scooch the bolster a little bit closer in towards that gluteal fold, kind of around that ischium, and allow this leg to just feel supported by the bolster. Let your arms just rest down by your side. And then as you're here, you're taking your right thumb and just allowing yourself to create space in that right hip crease. So I'm just gently pressing it down and forward. And I feel a response from my right hamstring. And it feels really good. Now, remember, with all the poses today, none of these poses should feel like they hurt in a painful way. They might be uncomfortable. Discomfort is different from pain. So you have to discern what you need. This one, I love it with the bolster. It feels better for my low back. If it still feels like your low back needs a little bit more of a neutral position, you're going to just bend that left knee, okay? Otherwise, slide that left leg forward. You've got one more slow, deep in-breath. And as you breathe out, hold on to your strap and then bend your right leg so that you can slide your left foot into the strap. Carefully release your right leg down. You're going to feel a sense of energy running back down the leg because you've been in it for a couple minutes. And then from here, I'm going to scooch my bolster towards that right leg and slide my right leg down, just allowing those tissues to rest from the hamstring pose. Again, as you're here, you may need to kind of tighten the strap depending if you have a little bit more mobility. Each side is different. We're not symmetrical. And then once again, I'm going to take my left thumb in towards that left hip crease and then kind of push it down a little bit forward so I can get a little bit of space in towards that hip crease, but I also kind of moving the tissue off to the side. I'm really feeling directly in towards the hamstring as I'm here. Breathe in and breathe out. And now I know for myself, my hamstring, especially my right one, has been speaking to me. And it's because I was training for a half marathon. And as a result, I incurred a little bit of a hamstring and hip flexor injury in that right leg. And so I've been consistently working on that. And my gait has visibly been better. But also invisible is the sensation, the freedom I feel in towards the hamstring and the hip. So that for me, the invisible is so much more valuable than the visible. You have just a couple more cycles of breath there. And then as you're ready, hold on to your strap. Take both legs in the strap there for a moment. Move your pillow off to the side. And then hold on to the strap. Bring the soles of your feet together and carefully bring the outer edges of your feet down towards the ground into your butterfly. Now, as you're here, this might be too much for you. So feel free to grab your blocks. I'm going to take this block and be behind my head, underneath your thighs for more support. I do feel a nice, healthy stress, eustress that is, not a distress, in towards the inner thighs. I feel the external rotation of the hips. There is a difference between the two that I'm noticing, and I might need a little bit of more support with that block underneath my right thigh. I might need to move that leg for a moment. It just feels like it just needs a little kind of a release first before I come back in. So anytime you feel something like that, feel free to make these subtle adjustments and then land back into the pose. You have another minute here to go. Take about 2 to 3 more cycles of breath. And then as you're ready, hold on to your strap. Again, feel free to stay. Gently bring your thighs in and then take your legs in and then slowly back up towards the ceiling. I'm going to remove the blocks. I'm taking the block right back behind my head. I'm going to take my bolster again and shimmy it towards my left side just because I might need that underneath my left leg. And then from here, we're heading into a little bit more of the lateral hamstring. So take your left leg back onto the bolster, block behind your head if you need that. And then move your right leg just a little bit. Let the right hip stay down. Move it towards the left side of the room. Right? So you get more of the lateral hamstrings here. And I'm feeling a lot through the hip stabilizers as well. I'm feeling it right in the hip stabilizers. Stay or begin to kind of draw your left leg towards the bottom right corner of your mat. Now, if you need support, this is where you grab your bolster. I love playing with my bolster. You can use a wall if you're by the wall, but maybe use your bolster kind of against that leg. Imagine that to be a wall and just kind of lean it in. It kind of provides a little bit of a border between the leg and the pillow, right? And this pillow is quite heavy and thick. I know some other bolsters are different densities. So just be mindful, it might be too soft and you might not be able to use it in the same way I'm using it. And then you can take your right thumb and just gently guide your right hip down. You have another minute here to go. Soften the right knee if you need to. Take one more slow, deep in breath. And a slow, deep out breath. Again, by all means, feel free to press pause on the video. But from here, we're going to slowly bring that right leg back to center. And then take your left foot slowly back in the strap. You may want to pause here and just notice how both legs feel. Okay. So rebound resonance. Again, for video purposes, I would prefer to go a little bit longer in the resonance. But for video purposes, we're keeping it short. I'm going to take my right foot down towards the ground and then move my leg a little bit off to the side. I forgot to mention this variation. You can also bend the right leg as you're here. And notice I'm kind of having that little crisscross. Again, this provides a little bit support for that leg, especially if you don't have that pillow. And you're going to feel that lateral hamstring. Let me restart the timer, 2 minutes. Okay. So you can be here, or you can extend that right leg towards the bottom left corner of your mat. Okay. Finding your edge, not too little, not too much, but just right. That's our Goldilocks principle. And then here's where I grab the pillow. Again, this is a little bit of a heavier pillow. And then I'm going to kind of just lean my leg on it and hold on to it if you need to, depending on if it works for you. Again, be creative with the props. I love using the props for support. I'm going to hold on to the bottom of the pillow so it doesn't slide off to the side. Okay, really notice that tug and pull along that lateral hamstring. You may feel it again along the left side of the hip stabilizer, the glute medius. You also might feel it along the IT band. All of this is connected. Take about 2 to 3 more cycles of breath there. See if you can allow that left knee just to bend a little bit so you give the lateral hamstrings a little bit of slack. Take one more slow deep in breath. And as you breathe out, taking your time, this one I have to go slow. I can feel the lateral hamstring. I'm going to take my right leg back in the strap for a moment here. Go slow, guys, go slow. Okay, and then pause there into the legs up. Kind of like a Viparita Karani variation. Okay. And then slowly rebend those knees. And then go ahead and release the strap. Let your feet come down towards the ground and just begin to just windshield wiper the legs from side to side. From here, go ahead and roll over towards the side and then gently press yourself up. Okay. So we're heading into a little bit of a hip flexor opening as well as a glute opening. We're heading into our swan pose. Feel free to take figure 4 on your back, which looks like this. Instead, especially if you have anything going on with your knees or if you have anything going on discogenically, like disc herniation or a bulging disc, I would recommend figure 4. Otherwise, we're coming into our swan pose. Now, try, if you'd like, to take that pillow horizontally And then come onto the bolster, sit off to the side, and take your right leg forward. You can do 1990 or slowly walk that left leg back so you can get into that left tip. Okay. I'm going to flex my right foot as I'm here. And I'm going to slowly come down, getting into that right hip flexor. That right glute and the left hip flexor. Now, as you're here, blocks, feel free to use blocks underneath your elbows. Okay. Choose that if you'd like. Feel free to bend the back knee, make it more of a deer pose. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to investigate how it feels to walk my collarbones towards my right foot. And then I'm going to slowly come down. As I'm here, I'm noticing a different angle does provide me with a different load of the tissues around my right glute, and it feels quite nice. Now, if you find this is a bit much, then come back to center. You may want to, as you're here, even lean off towards the right side. And that's fine. This is swan pose. It's not Ekapada Raja Kapotasana in our yang class. Okay. Now we have another 50 seconds here to go. Okay, so feel that external rotation of the hip. Feel that right glute, and then feel the opening through that left thigh, that left hip flexor. My recommendation is to stay longer in this one if you can. But press pause. Okay. Stay in it for another minute or a little bit longer than that. Otherwise, we're going to come all the way up and go slow as you dismount from the pose. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to sit on my right hip and bring that left leg all the way around. And then as I'm here, shifting towards my left sitting bone, and then slowly sliding that right leg back behind me. And then slowly as I'm here, kind of navigating, trying to get that right hip crease down because I am looking for a little bit of that right hip opening. Again, feel free to bend that back leg. Just emphasize the yin stress along that left glute. Again, staying more central is your option. Otherwise, walk your blocks towards the left foot and see if that provides a different load, something more novel for your swan pose that feels good for your body, that feels beneficial and helpful. A lot of times with yin practice, the change and the growth is really more of a yin side, inside job, right? So know that, again, the changes don't need to be visible, right? A lot of the work is done inside, and we feel it. We feel it. It feels better in our bodies. We feel a lot better moving in our bodies. I'm going to take about 2 more cycles of breath there. Again, my recommendation is to press pause on the video and see if you can stay just another minute, at least another minute, if not a little bit longer. Okay, here we go. Slowly start to come all the way up. Walk your body back centrally. And then from here, anyway, to come out of the pose, again, shifting your weight towards the left to bring your right leg around. And then from here, we're going to come to all fours. So move your pillow off to the side. And we're going to take the blocks just for a moment at the calves. So I'm heading in towards, as I'm here, the muscle tendon junction of the gastrocnemius and then the Achilles. I'm going to take the edge of the block there, slide it underneath on an angle, press in, and then slowly shift back. Take your hands on the ground. I'm going to use my pillow since I have that, and bring my elbows down and just a little bit of myofascial release in towards the calves there. And I'm not looking for the biggest sensation or pressure. It's going to be uncomfortable, obviously, but it should not be painful. Just a moment here just to shift your weight from side to side. Breathe into your low back. You can rest your head onto your hands if you like. I might need to change my orientation of the pillow. And then as I'm here, I'm going to interlace my fingers, take my head, forehead in towards the basket weave of my hands. And I'm just going to breathe here. You can stay still and sustain compression. Instead of this, you can always roll your blanket into a tube. I think in some of my past videos, I've shown that. So you might want to do that, especially if the blocks are a little too dense for your tissues. Again, I'm not looking for any bruising of the tissues. I'm just looking for a nice myofascial release. Okay. We're not going to be here for very long for time purposes, but again, feel free to stay if you'd like. Otherwise, slowly start to come all the way up, heading into Shavasana. So taking your blocks, I'm going to have the blocks on its medium level and they're going to lay on an angle on my bolster. We're going to take the knife ridge of the block at the base of the skull. So you're going to take it right at the base of the skull here, the suboccipital ridge. The shoulder blades are going to land onto the blocks and you're just going to gently land down. So again, as you're here, you're going to have to kind of finesse some of this. I'm going to slide down. Okay, so that I can kind of grab on or have the tissues grab onto the base of my skull as I'm here. Whew, and that is a good myofascial release. Okay. And then as you're here, okay, feel that. You can take your hands kind of behind your head, elbows point up if you like. Don't be too aggressive in this one. You can just gently turn your head from side to side as you're here. The support of the blocks of the back of your shoulder blades. You can turn your head, kind of move in a way where it feels good to release at the ridge of the skull. I really enjoy this variation simply because I can use the points of the block to get into that little crevices or little areas at the base of the skull, which feels phenomenal. Yeah, just breathe. In fact, I would stay here if you can for, again, at least about 2 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to turn my head just a little bit to get into the base of the skull and the angle where it feels good for me. I can shift my body or my head a little bit more off to the side as I'm here. That feels nice. Again, find your areas where you're like, it feels magical for you, right? It's like, oh, there it is, right? Play with the tilting of your head to chin down or chin slightly up. I could stay in this for a long, long time. Okay. And you can hang out here in Shavasana, right? Or if you've stayed here long enough, and we don't want to overdo it, right? You can remove the blocks and just lay onto your back and just take a nice, long, at least 5-minute Shavasana. Minimum. Okay. Otherwise, this is where I leave you. Press the pause on the video so that you can stay in Shavasana a little bit longer, or the small fascial release. But this is where I leave you for your Shavasana and for your practice day. And a reminder, right? The shifts and the evolution, the growth within you doesn't need to be visible, right? In fact, a lot of times it's invisible. And that gentle knowing that you're doing this work to make yourself stronger, better, feel better in your body, in your whole energy. That's what's important. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Once again, please press subscribe so that you can see these videos. I don't often post as many videos. I was on a retreat in India, and then I was in Palm Desert, so that's why I had to stop doing my videos. But hopefully I can get back in, place more videos in, but click subscribe, and you'll get a notification whenever I do so. All right, guys. Namaste. And I'll see you guys next time.